Welcome to this year's Memorial Day ceremony. My name's Lisa Downey. I'm the Veterans Agent. Please stand for your opening prayer by Mr. Ed Flanagan, United States Army veteran.
First of all, we want to thank the good Lord for this beautiful day in this beautiful setting. And we want to thank the people that made this occasion possible. O Lord God of hosts, as we gather to honor and pay respects to our comrades who have departed this life, it is fitting that we remember first our great nation. Our Creator has given us a rich and beautiful land for our heritage. We humbly pray that we may always prove ourselves a people constantly aware of your favor and therefore anxious to demonstrate our gratitude in seeking to know and to do your will. We give you thanks for all those, our comrades, who have laid down their lives in the service of our country. May they rest in peace, and may the perpetual light shine upon them. May their good works of seeking justice for the oppressed and peace for all mankind be rewarded with success, so that their sacrifices shall not have been in vain. And may we never fail to remember the awesome cost of that freedom that we enjoy today. All this we ask in your holy name. Amen.
And now the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Tewksbury Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and Eagle Scouts. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'd like to introduce Ian Gray from Boy Scout Troop 322, who's going to read Governor Baker's Memorial Day proclamation.
A proclamation from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Whereas while the nation was still recovering from the horrors of the Civil War, people in cities and towns across the country gathered to honor those Union and Confederate soldiers who had given their lives celebrating the first Decoration Day. And whereas after after World War I, the nation came together again to honor those who had fallen in the service of their country. Renamed Memorial Day, the last Monday in May is when people remember and honor the memory of all the men and women who fought and died in all American wars and conflict. And whereas throughout our country's history, thousands of Massachusetts citizens have fought in wars and conflicts to defend our safety and way of life, and fought and whereas their legacy of patriotism and dedication to our country is an inspiration to all Americans. And whereas it is appreciated that all Massachusetts citizens remember the bravery of those who gave their lives so that their sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. Now therefore, I, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim May 27th, 2019 to be Memorial Day. And we urge all citizens of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. Given at the Executive Chamber in Boston, the first day of May in the year 2019, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 242nd.
I'd like to introduce Mark Kratman, Vice Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, who will greet the town and introduce our guest speakers and elected officials.
Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day we have here. Finally, we get a gorgeous day on this great holiday. I just want to welcome you on behalf of the town and make it short and sweet, and let's hear from our veterans. So our first speaker is Mr. Joseph Zangri, U.S. Air Force veteran, American Legion Sub-District 5 Commander of Middlesex County.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to say before I start that it's an honor and a privilege to be amongst people who know what Memorial Day is all about and are here to truly celebrate the meaning of it. United they stood, united they sacrificed. Just before Election Day in 2018, an American soldier in Afghanistan posted on Facebook. He wrote, "As the USA gets ready to vote in our election Tuesday, I hope everyone back home exercises their precious right to vote. And that whether the Republicans or the Democrats win, that we will all remember that we have far more as Americans that unites us than divides us. United we stand, divided we fall." End quote. Although the soldier who posted these words was a member of the National Guard and was described as a proud Republican, his family likely had little interest in the actual results of the election. It mattered not that he was also the mayor of North Ogden, Utah. When the election day arrived in Utah, so did the honor guard accompanying his remains. The flag-draped casket of Major Brent Taylor, husband of one, father of 7, and inspiration to millions. Utah weeps for them today, his state lieutenant governor wrote of the Taylor family. He could have added that this nation wept as well. A veteran of 2 tours in Iraq, Major Taylor was killed when a cowardly member of the Afghan National Security Forces opened fire on him during an insider attack in Kabul. Major Taylor did not need to serve in the military like all U.S. veterans of global war and terrorism. He chose to serve in the military. Even though many fallen heroes from previous wars may have been conscripted into service, there is always a way out for those committed to avoiding such danger. On June 6th, the world will observe the 75th anniversary of the Normandy invasion. American Legion National Commander Brett Reinstein will lead a delegation to the sandy shores of France, paying respect to the thousands of Allied heroes who gave their lives to liberate a continent. Labels that we hurl today, like Democrat, Republican, blue state, red state, matter little when facing mines and machine gun fire while charging a breach. Politics are irrelevant to a family that hears the words, "We regret to inform you." In fact, Joanne Steen, a behavioral health counselor and Gold Star widow, recently wrote a book with the same title, "We Regret to Inform You." The Gold Star parents, she writes, the reality that your child is dead comes in doses. Reality doesn't have sensitivity or good manners, and you may be confronted with a harsh dose when you least expect it. Likewise, reality seems to operate on its own arrival schedule, end quote. When one witnesses the actual reality of heroes dying, it is easy to mistake their mission as failed. Private Andy Rooney, who later would achieve fame as 60 Minutes commentator, was a correspondent for Stars and Stripes. He interviewed a number of D-Day veterans. All they saw was dead friends. Rooney remembered guys drowning in the water and dead people around them. And back in London headquarters, they were calling it a great victory, a great success. It didn't look like success to the guys who were fighting it, but it turned out, in fact, it was a success. And the guys who were up close and saw it firsthand were wrong, and the people who had the grand view of it were right. We continue to lose heroes every day in places like Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and in military training accidents and missions around the world. Some were only teenagers and many were just in their 20s. Regardless of their age to their families, they are forever young, healthy, and strong. From the American Revolution to our current operations against terrorism, 1 million American men and women have made the supreme sacrifice while serving in wars and conflicts. We honor all of them, not just to those with the highest medals or the heroes who fought in most famous battles. They all died so we can continue to cherish the things we love: freedom, country, and family. That is why we are gathered here on Memorial Day, to honor the memory of our fallen warriors who have given everything for their country. We are also reminded on this day that in each generation, brave men and women will always step forward to take the oath of allegiance as members of the armed forces, willing to fight and, if necessary, die for the sake of freedom. As Legionnaires, we pledge, through the preamble of our organization's constitution, to preserve the memories and incidents of our associations in the Great Wars. This solemn promise is on the back of each American Legion membership card. Yet we do not remember our fallen brothers and sisters in arms because of an edict or obligatory rule. We do so because we want to. And we want to be there for their families long after battlefield guns have been silenced and the bombs stop exploding. The children of our fallen warriors will still be missing a parent. Spouses will continue to miss their life partners. Parents will never stop grieving for their heroic sons and daughters who died way too early. We need to be there for all of them. Nobody can replace these fallen heroes, especially in the eyes of their families. But we can offer shoulders to cry on and assurances that their loved one's sacrifice will not be forgotten. Maybe we can continue in ways such as handling a car repair, babysitting, or mowing a Gold Star family's lawn. We cannot bring back the departed, but we can honor their sacrifice for those whom they love the most. As Americans, we should all remember that freedom isn't free. It's only possible because of our fallen heroes have paid the high price. A price paid which enables us to have ceremonies and observances like this in communities across the nation. Major Brent Taylor called us to be unified. When we consider the sacrifice that he and his brothers and sisters made for us, it is the least we can do for them. God bless you all. God bless America. And God bless our fallen heroes. Thank you.
Next, we're going to have Senator Barry Feingold come up and say a few words. Everybody follow my lead. Let's keep it short.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to say a few words on this very important day when we remember those who served and gave their lives to protect our country. For those who don't know me, my name is Barry Feingold and I'm the state senator of Andover, Dracut, Lawrence, and Tewksbury. And I'm thrilled to be here today joined by my representative Tram Nguyen and Dave Robertson. I'm also glad to be here as part of our local government officials, including Town Manager Richard Montori, Veteran Service Officers Lisa Downey, and members of our Board of Selectmen Jay Kelly, Mark Kratman, Brian Dick, Jane Wellman Miller, and Anne Marie Stronach. And I just want to recognize the great words that Mr. Joe Zangri just spoke to us. I thought he hit the nail on the head, and we appreciate not only for his words, but for his service as well. And we're here today to remember and honor those like him who served our country, as well as remember those who gave their lives in service of our country. One of the most important ways to determine our appreciation and patriotism is to support our veterans. We should do that not only days like today, but also on a daily basis. That includes making sure they have good jobs when they return from service, and also making sure they have proper services if they need help or to heal. This legislative session, I'm proud to say I'm a sponsor of the legislation to establish a commission on post-traumatic stress disorder. Under this proposed bill, the Executive Office of Health and Human Services would establish a commission consisting of about 20 experts from state government, medicine, academia, and nonprofits treating those who have PTSD. The commission would annually provide recommendations on how to advance PTSD, research and improve the treatment, increase public awareness and recognition of PTSD, and support the early and accurate diagnosis of PTSD. You know, one of the challenges that I find that we face is that anyone who will serve is a selfless individual. And the problem is that too many people are coming back after serving all of us and are afraid to ask for help. And we need to make sure that we let everyone know that if you're going to make the ultimate sacrifice for us, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we help you as well. It has to be a priority not only today, but every day as well. That's why we'll continue to fight for money for mental health awareness, suicide prevention, and making sure that those who are willing to give the ultimate sacrifice are taken care of. I just want to thank all of you that have served, and please let you all know that have served that, as Joe said, freedom is never free, and we don't take it for granted. Thank you all very much.
Next, we're going to have up is Representative David Robertson.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for letting me take a brief moment. It's a beautiful day, but I do know, as a lifelong resident of Tewksbury, even if it wasn't, we'd all be here. You don't have to be a student of history to recognize that Tewksbury has had itself woven into the fabric of our nation's history from the very first shots at Lexington and Concord. In fact, the Minutemen from Tewksbury and the surrounding areas were some of the very first reinforcements. And since then, in every conflict, whether large or small, that faces our great nation, the men and women of Tewksbury have heeded the call and sometimes made the ultimate sacrifice. Thinking about today, the words of Navy veteran and Purple Heart winner and Massachusetts native John F. Kennedy came to mind with his famous quote, "As we express our gratitude, let us not utter words, but instead put into action." And that's what Tewksbury is doing today. For those who have served, and I know I've seen a number of my friends who are veterans, Mr. Gill, Mr. Woodman, Mr. Flanagan, thank you. But perhaps they know more than us who have not, that the true heroes today are the ones that did not return. Some of them, in fact, have not even been brought home to their native soil. So to those who made the ultimate sacrifice, that gave me a wonderful town, state, and country to grow up in, freedoms that we all take for granted, thank you. And to those families still grieving, we grieve with you, and let us know however we may love and support you for all that you and your family have given us. So this day, it's about you. God bless you, the fallen, and our great nation, and let us carry the spirit after today for the next year until I see you again here, once again honoring those who gave the most. Thank you.
Next will be State Representative Tram Nguyen.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's truly my pleasure to be here today, and I echo what my colleagues have said. We are so indebted to you for everything that you've done. Families of people, the people who have served, the people who still continue to serve, and those who served and did not come back. We're also indebted to your families who also sacrifice, as you have given so much to our nation for the ideals of democracy and freedom. And as legislators, we are here to serve you. We're here to work with your wonderful Veteran Services officers and others to make sure that you have the resources that you need. And as someone who has served, I worked in legal aid and served veterans throughout my career prior to getting elected. I understand the needs of the veterans as well as the families of those who have fallen and have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. And we want to make sure that we are available and accessible to you. And I'm so glad to be here to be able to honor those who have fallen with you today. Thank you.
I also want to say thank you to Lisa Downey for putting this together and for all the things she does for our town. We have a wonderful veterans agent, and we should all be very proud of what she does for this town. So thank you. One of our last speakers, I'm going to have Dennis Francis, the chairman of the school committee, come up and say a few words.
Thank you, and good afternoon to everyone. The other day at work, I work in Newton. Two Newton North High School seniors said to me, "Mr. Francis, you're a Vietnam veteran. What does Memorial Day mean to you?" And it made me think. Memorial Day means to me about reflection. Reflection of everything in the past, in the present, and in the future. When I think of Memorial Day, I think of in 2 years from now will be the 80th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. And next week will be the 45th anniversary of D-Day. I think of our Tewksbury Memorial class of 2019 students when they graduate next week, that they will be the last graduating class that was born after 2011, after 2001, 9/11. I think of how important it is that we cannot forget that. We cannot forget the people, the soldiers, the men and women, the airmen, the sailors, and first responders who gave their lives so that we can have a better America. I cannot help to reflect back on sometimes we have revisionist history. We cannot let revisionist history take over the history of our great nation and what our military has done. The sacrifices that they've made, the sacrifices that they made and their families made. I reflect and think back how we have to do a better job as a community for our veterans who do return, with housing, with education. And we have to do a better job state and nationally to make sure that our veterans that come back with their physical and emotional problems are taken care of at our hospitals. So I think everybody that's here today, when they think, they should reflect on somebody here knows somebody who passed away as a veteran who never returned, and the scars that remain with all the families today. So reflect on what America is and what America is going to be. And it was said before, freedom is never free. God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our speakers. The VFW Honor Guard, Post 8164, will now lower the flag to half-staff. All right, at this time, we'll now do the presentation of flowers to honor all of our deceased service members. We'll start with the Revolutionary War. The Civil War. World War I. World War II. The Korean War. The Vietnam War. The Persian Gulf War. The Kosovo War. The war in Afghanistan. The Iraq War. The next presentation of flowers are for all MIA and KIA. And for our unknown soldiers. I'd like to ask Mr. Joseph Zangri to come back up and read all of the American Legion post-Everlasting 259 names and all of the Tewksbury killed in action names.
As I read this list, we will ring the bell after each name. The first that I'm going to read are those that we lost from American Legion Post 259 in Tewksbury. And what we say when we lose somebody in the Legion is they've passed to Post Everlasting. So I'll now read those names. Sally Horahan, U.S. Air Force. Robert Joyce, Navy. Bernard Shea, Navy. Mark Wood, Navy. Joseph Lafarbe, Army. Paul Lambert, U.S. Air Force. Tom Gannon, U.S. Air Force. I will now read the KIAs from Tewksbury from this past year. First Lieutenant Dexter E. Bailey, Army, World War I. Oh, these are from all time, evidently. Private Everett E. Fulton, Army, World War I. Private Dennis F. O'Connell, Army, World War I. Corporal Gerald R. Thomas Silk, Army, World War I. Sergeant William G. Abbott, Army, World War II. Private Raymond P. Briggs, Army, World War II. Corporal John R. Cooney, USMC, World War II. Private First Class Walter J. Flynn, Army, World War II. Sergeant Paul J. Houlihan, Army, World War II. PFC James A. Lawler, Army, World War II. Second Lieutenant John T. O'Neill, U.S. Air Force, World War II. Private Thomas F. Kehoe, Army, Korea. Sergeant First Class Wayne C. Allen, Army, Vietnam. Actually, that was Spec First Class, I believe. I'm not sure. Lieutenant Colonel George A. Cyros, USMC, Vietnam. Captain Richard G. Morin, USMC, Vietnam. Warrant Officer David M. Morris, Army, Vietnam. Okay, it's S.N. Luco W. Palmer, Navy, Vietnam. And last, Spec 4, Robert E. Spires, Army, Vietnam.
I'd like to ask Ian Gray, Boy Scout Troop 322, to come back up and read In Flanders Fields.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
And now the VFW Honor Guard, Post 8164, will do the 21 gun salute.
Honor Guard, push your collar.
Aim. Fire. Cover. Aim. Fire. Break. Foot arms. Up.
While the storm clouds gathered far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. Please, everyone join us in God Bless America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
And that concludes our ceremony. I'd just like to take a moment to thank the VFW Honor Guard, Tewksbury Police Honor Guards for coming out, our swinging seniors for singing, and our guest speaker and all the politicians. Thank you, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.